Welcome to How Good Is. Today we're going to take a look at Asahi. So Asahi, I've said before in the news video, is really bad gameplay wise, but I'm not going to have this entire video just me telling you like, oh, she's bad and move on. I've done that in the past, and to be honest, I should put more effort into these, right? I should tell you what this character actually can do instead of telling you why they can't be as good as other characters, okay? That said, if you just want a quick opinion on this character because you're just not quite sure if this character is good or not. Well, first off, if you like this character, like as a character, and you were like, oh man, I really like this character, but I'm not sure if I should pull them, just pull for characters you like, okay? But secondly, if you just want the quick opinion, this character is not good, okay? This character just isn't good, okay? But if you actually are interested in this character or you just want to know what this character actually does, let's actually get into this. So she's a support, and I can tell you a defensive support if you're going to look at her toolkit, which means that, well, we're going to look at the toolkit, now we're going to see. She has 2 Excel discs, 2 charge discs, so definitely no attacking happening from her. Especially if you look at her animations, you think that she's a badass sniper, right? She has a sniper rifle. And she actually does do some sniping in the story where she like snipes people from kilometers away, almost kills Yuna and like almost kills Shikiro and whatever, like just really cool sniping. But her attack animations, she actually just runs forward and then stabs people with her bayonet. I'm not even fucking kidding. She doesn't even use her rifle. Okay, I think her vertical, the one blast that she has, right? The horizontal, that's the one. She runs forward and then shoots them point blank as she runs through them with her bayonet. Which is like, yeah, okay, sure, at least you used your weapon, okay? But you still went into melee range. You didn't need to do that. And the vertical blast, which you have to connect onto her in order to see it, she actually does use a sniper rifle in there by standing there and shooting, right? And you would think that, how is this something special to have an animation for a sniper where they just stand there and shoot? But it's like the only animation she has where she just stands and shoots, or like kneels and shoots, and doesn't just run into melee range. Anyway, I find that really funny because that already kind of explains what this character is gonna be like in gameplay as well. Like the animations being so off and having nothing to do with a sniper is basically the theme for this entire character in gameplay as well. So the stats are completely supportive, which already, first red flag for this being a sniper. Why does she have low attack? Shouldn't a sniper have really high attack? Isn't that you would expect from a sniper, that they have really high attack because they can kill people in a single shot? Okay, what about her personal? Does that give her some stay ability? Excel MP gain up, defense up, and MP gain up. Very defensive, but also a bit linked into like MP generation. We're gonna see this character get to Magia and Doppel. Okay, really nothing to do with being a sniper as well, unless the Magia is really high damage and has some really offensive effects on it. Wink wink, it doesn't. So at this point we can already just agree basically that this character might not really be a sniper at the very end. So if you like the whole fantasy of being a sniper, if you really like snipers, like some people in this room might really like snipers, this might not be the unit for you, right? This might not be the unit for you. Anyway, moving on to a kit, gives connect to someone with attack up, survive, and guardian. Okay, so the entire point of this connect is you give someone guardian, they take a bunch of hits, and if they were to die, they will proc the survive. Fun fact, when she released, and a week later, I still don't know if it was actually fixed or is still like this in the game, the survive didn't actually work. People just died, you just gave this to someone and they just died, and the survive didn't trigger. I hope that was fixed by now. I think it was. If it wasn't, oh my god, I'm very slow. But yeah, let's just assume it works. Okay, so you give this to someone, they take a bunch of damage. The one thing I want you to take away from this connect is that this connect, in most cases, does not reduce the amount of damage your team is taking, it just redirects it to someone else. Because this does not give defense up or damage cut or evade or anything, you just take the damage and shove it somewhere else. If you have a really defensive character, you can shove it onto them and be like, hey, at least we have a defensive character taking all these hits. But are you really going to go into a quest with a defensive support and a full on defense tank character? Where's your damage? Are you gonna play the match for 50 turns? I mean, if you want to play the match for 50 turns, yeah, you can take another tank with you into a battle with Asahi. Probably don't do that though. You're probably gonna give this to a damage dealer, which means that whatever damage dealer you're giving this to is gonna get absolutely shreked and take 3 hits to the face. But at least they'll survive, right? And they might be on low HP afterwards. That said, you're also not taking more damage. like I said, you're just redirecting damage to someone, and if they were to die from it, they survive. Are there situations where that is good? Yeah, probably. In a situation where your entire party is already really low HP and you know that you're about to lose some people, knowing that you can like cheat out one more turn by like having one guy take all the hits and surviving, that's okay. But once again, if you just take really offensive characters, you'll just never be in this situation where your entire party is about to die and fall apart. And if you do get into those situations, you need more offensive characters, right? That's kind of what it comes down to. At least it also gives attack up. Another thing to think about this connect is that if your entire party does not need the Guardian and survive, and is totally fine anyway, this is a dead connect. This is a dead connect basically if you don't actually need the survive from this. That said, it still gives 40% attack, but kind of everyone gives 40% attack or like something around that range, so it's not really anything special. But okay, it doesn't do nothing. It still does something by giving the attack, but it's almost nothing if you don't really need the survive. And how often are you going to need the survive? Extremely situational. Speaking about extremely situational and will barely ever do anything in most cases, her Magia. Okay, so it actually does have attribute strength and damage to one enemy, which you're like, oh, she's a sniper, attribute strength and damage to one enemy. But all of her attacks scale off of attack, of course, her base attack, and her base attack is really low. So even a non-attribute strength and damage to one enemy, just a normal damage to one enemy, Magia from someone who has even just 2000 more attack, which a lot of attack characters and Magia characters have, does more damage, right? Especially if you buff these characters, because attack buffs and defense buffs are a lot more effective if you have more base attack and defense, because their percentage. 100% on nothing is still nothing. 100% on a lot, that's a lot. That's way more than a lot even. So her having low attack means that this being attribute strength and damage, I mean, it's nice, but it's still gonna pale in comparison to the damage that just any good Magia character is gonna be putting on the field, even if it's not attribute strength and damage. So is she really a sniper? I don't know. I mean, she has single target focused damage, but it's bad. It's really bad damage because she has a low attack. Does she at least have some offensive abilities that come alongside that? No, she has nothing offensive with her aside that, because she revives. Let's just go to the doppel, because the doppel is just a straight up upgrade in every sense. She revives an ally, random ally, gives defense up to all allies, anti-debuff, and negates stealth ailments. And this is important, I checked it up. The revive happens first, which means that the defense buffs, the anti-debuff and the anti-ailment buff happens after that and applies to the ally you've just revived, which makes it a lot easier to keep that ally alive because they immediately get a defense buff and they immediately get anti-debuff, anti-stealth ailments. Nice. Well, keep in mind, this is just I think one stack, so it will. So in the next, if in the next 5 turns you were to get hit by one debuff, that one debuff poofs, you don't get hit by it. But then this buff goes away. So if you get hit by 2 debuffs, the second one will still hit you. Same with the negate stealth ailments. It doesn't just negate all stealth ailments for 5 turns. That would actually be pretty cool. No, it just negates 1 stealth ailments within the next 5 turns. That's all it does. Which of course also means that these are completely dead effects against enemies that don't use debuffs or ailments. Or if they use debuffs and ailments that don't really do anything, like just a little bit of defense reduction, or maybe just a little poison status ailment, like these effects barely do anything, and negating them, like, yeah, it's better, but it doesn't really do much. And the defense up, I guess, is nice to keep the revived ally alive, but here's the thing. You might not actually want to keep that revived ally alive, because you get, in Spirit Enhancement, you get stronger when a revived ally dies, or just when an ally dies. So some people have said, oh, but can't you like keep reviving people and then having them die over and over to keep this buff stacked up, and this buff lasts forever? And after like 50 turns, this buff like maxes out, and you have like permanently 100% attack and 100% defense up. First off, like I said, like 50 turns to get there, because when you revive an ally, you give them defense up, and if you connect to them, they survive another turn. So it's actually not that easy with Asahi to just let someone die when you revive them. And secondly, or most importantly, She has low base stats, and I've just said that attack percentage buffs and defense percentage buffs are a lot more powerful if you have more base attack and more base defense. She has barely any. So buffing that still does actually nothing. Buffing really low base still gets you nothing. Just take a regular strong attack character and they're just by themselves are gonna have more attack on the field with just the Memoria than Asahi will have with 50 turns of setup. Just take defensive character. Why are you doing 50 turns of setup for a support to do maybe as much damage as a normal attacker does on turn 1? So that is why that strategy is bad. Here's another reason why that strategy is bad. We already know it's bad from experience, because Iroha, the very first character that was ever released, had Revive on Magia. Revived also with 54% HP. Now, Iroha didn't get stronger when someone died, but is there another character that also revives characters and gets stronger when they die? Iriyachi. Iriyachi also has this exact effect of getting stronger when an ally dies and also revives allies. And in fact, revives allies with a lot less HP, which means it's easier for them to die again. And if you want to specifically play the strategy, that's actually better. Also, Iriyachi has way better passive base attack and base defense, so it scales way better off of Iriyachi. So it seems like Iriyachi has the same like a gimmick that you can play with her, but is way stronger at that gimmick. Like, it's easier to let allies die and you get just a lot more out of it, okay? That said, even with Iriyachi, no one plays this. No one plays the strategy with Iriyachi, even though on Iriyachi the strategy is way better. So the question is, if no one's played on Iriyachi, why would it be good on a character for whom that gimmick is a lot worse? I don't think this is gonna be a good strategy at all. It takes way too long to set up, her base stats are bad anyway, so it's not gonna do much. And we know that this strategy has already existed on a way better character, where that strategy actually makes a lot more sense, and people didn't play it. So no, this strategy is not good. It's funny, I guess, it's kind of funny, but we know it's not going to be very effective. Especially because, like I said, if you actually want to let people die, you give them defense up when you res them. And you res them at half their HP. Which makes it a lot harder to let them die. And if you connect onto them, like I said, they're going to survive an extra turn. It makes it even harder for them to die. Okay. Okay. Maybe your other SE nodes are really good. He has the damage card, excel up, nice. Skill quicken because she's a support, don't forget that. She has curse on attack and a Magia seal, endure on quests. Wait a second. Okay, this act right here, fast one up, is actually really good. But wait a second, there's nothing here that has to do with a sniper. I know I keep harping on about this, but she's literally the sniper in the story who snipes people, and she has a sniper rifle. That's literally what she does in this story, and none of her spirit enhancement enhances that in any way. And of course, like I said at the very beginning, neither do her animations. Her animations also just are not sniper-like at all. Her active gives regen HP and starts aim resistance up. Okay. Okay. So some people have said, okay, but she's like snipers are supposed to like stay far behind and let other people fight for them, so they can like come in and swoop in for the kill, right? Which is what like the doppel would be like. So you'd be like, oh no, she's a sniper because she like lets other people guardian and like revives them and like keeps them alive and whatever, so that they can keep tanking hits for her. And then she uses her doppel for really high damage, which, like I said, it's not actually that high damage because there's low attack. But even if that's your idea, her spirit enhancement completely blows that out of the water and like completely nullifies that entire way of thinking, because there's nothing in here that befits a sniper. Did you know that there's a passive effect that like has a chance to negate evade? You know what that effect is called? That effect is called aim adept. She doesn't have it. Guys, she's a sniper that doesn't have aim adept. She can't aim. She can't fucking aim. She also doesn't have critical hit, which is something that you probably would think from a sniper, that they would be able to have critical hits or something. I don't know, that sounds very sniper-like to me. She doesn't have defense ignore, which sounds very sniper-like to me, or damage cut ignore. Have you guys seen anti-personnel, not anti-personnel, anti-material rifles? Anti-material rifles are what some people call like the anti-tank rifles. Like these sniper rifles with this really big tip at the front that can like punch through tanks. That's some defense ignore right there and some damage cut ignore. I know she doesn't have that weapon, but it's magical. She shoots magical bullets. She really should have defense ignore and damage cut ignore chance in there. And aim adept, because she can't fucking aim as a sniper. She should have critical hit. You could give her evade maybe instead of endure, because on the other hand, while she doesn't have the offensive part of it, you would think that a sniper getting attacked would like immediately die, because sniper is supposed to be squishy. She has endure in PvE. You're not a sniper, are you? You're just... You would imagine her on the field, and like the team in front of her takes all the hits, and they start dying and they get rest. And looking back at Asahi and be like, are you gonna snipe them or what? And Asahi just goes, actually, I can't snipe. And that guy just go, yeah, you're a good fucking sniper, man. Yeah. Okay, so on one hand, she's not a good sniper at all, because she doesn't fucking aim at it. I mean, not just the name, but the effect to ignore evade would also be absolutely fucking perfect on a sniper. Anyway, she doesn't have the effects of a sniper. She doesn't have the attack of a sniper. She doesn't have the animations of a sniper. She doesn't have the playstyle of a sniper, because a doppel is actually just defensive and not aggressive at all. And even if, aside from that, even if like, okay, let's just ignore the sniper fantasy. Is she just, as outside of that fantasy, is she a good character? No, because she's completely defensive. And defensive characters are like, you know what, if you ever get into a bad situation, then a defensive character is going to be really nice. But you wouldn't even be getting into a bad situation if you just had more damage. Whenever you're in a bad situation, the solution is just more damage. That's it. So I know I talked a lot about this character, and I was trying to be like maybe a little bit more entertaining other than just saying, oh, and she's just fucking terrible, and like give more reasons why she just doesn't quite work out. But like I said at the beginning of this, if you really like her as a character, yeah, sure, go ahead. But they also said something about the story of the... I'm not gonna do any spoilers or whatever, but during the news I was like, oh, the story, like anti-magic shit. There was no anti-magic shit, okay? There was just a mistranslation, or just some assumptions that we had. The assumptions did not turn out to be true. There was no anti-magic bullshit. There was still a bunch of other bullshit though, and while overall the event was alright, it was an alright event, there was a bunch of bullshit in there that is gonna divide people. It's gonna be a very divisive event once more people read that event. But yeah. What about her Foster Memoria though? It's not terrible, it's not bad, it's alright, but it's nothing super special. It's a really high base attack Memoria with attack percentage, which is interesting because that's something that might actually make sense on a sniper. But the chance to charm on a friend is like, it's kind of, who cares, right? It doesn't really matter. This is the kind of Memoria that you would use specifically only for the attack up if you just have no other attack Memoria, and it's unlimited. So if you start a fresh account, you might randomly get this. It has 20% attack up, non-limit break with a decent amount of attack, so it's gonna be fine, right? This is like a really alright Memoria on a really fresh account, where also the random charm chance might actually like turn around a few quests for you. So yeah, overall, Asahi is a sniper who can't actually snipe, and she's a defensive support in a meta, or not just a meta, but in a game where defensive support just aren't very good. That was that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.